Imagine a life where nothing can shake your peace, where you stand strong, no matter the storm around you. Becoming untouchable, not by force or by building walls, but by mastering your mind and emotions. This is the essence of Stoicism. Our reactions are the only thing we truly control. Everything else, the people around us, the situations we find ourselves in, the world at large, is beyond our direct influence. Yet, it's so easy to get caught up in trying to control things that are out of our reach, things that we have no power over. We think if we can change the way people act or manipulate our circumstances, then we'll find peace. But the truth is, peace doesn't come from controlling the world. It comes from learning how to control ourselves, especially our reactions. Every day, we face countless situations that can trigger a response. Whether it's a person cutting us off in traffic, a colleague saying something that offends us, or a friend letting us down, these events can throw us off balance if we let them. But the moment we realize that our emotional response is entirely our choice, the power shifts. You can't always prevent what happens to you, but you can decide how you react to it. Take, for example, someone who criticizes you. You have two choices. You can become defensive, angry, and upset, or you can choose to listen calmly and reflect on the criticism. Often, our initial reaction is automatic, and we may lash out before we even realize what we're doing. But when you pause and remember that your reaction is within your control, you can take a step back and choose a more thoughtful response. This ability to control your reactions is essential for maintaining your peace of mind. Imagine waking up every day and knowing that nothing and no one has the power to make you angry or upset unless you allow it. This doesn't mean you'll never feel frustration or sadness. It's natural to experience emotions. But it means you won't let those emotions rule you. Instead, you'll acknowledge them, and then choose how to respond in a way that aligns with your values and goals. In fact, when you react negatively to something or someone, it often ends up hurting you more than anyone else. Holding on to anger or resentment is like holding a hot coal in your hand, thinking it will burn someone else. In reality, the only person it hurts is you. But when you choose to respond with calm and clarity, it not only helps you maintain your peace, but it also reflects a sense of inner strength and control. Learning to control your reactions requires practice and self-awareness. It doesn't happen overnight, and it's easy to slip into old patterns. But each time you catch yourself reacting impulsively, you have an opportunity to pause, breathe, and choose a better response. It might be as simple as taking a moment to center yourself before responding, or reminding yourself that the situation isn't as personal as it feels in the moment. With time, you'll develop a more composed and thoughtful way of responding to life's challenges. This level of control over your reactions also creates a sense of emotional independence. When we allow others or external events to dictate how we feel, we give away our power. But when you take charge of your reactions, you begin to realize that your emotional well-being is not dependent on anyone else's behavior. You become the master of your own state of mind. Of course, there will be times when it's hard to stay composed. Life isn't always easy, and people won't always treat you the way you want. But the beauty of controlling your reactions is that, even in the toughest moments, you can choose to respond in a way that aligns with your inner values. In fact, some of the most powerful reactions come in moments of adversity. A calm, composed response in the face of conflict or difficulty not only helps you maintain your peace, but it also shows others that you're not easily swayed by external forces. The more we practice controlling our reactions, the more we cultivate a deep sense of inner peace that can't be shaken by the outside world. Over time, you'll notice that your relationships improve, your stress levels decrease, and your overall quality of life becomes more centered. You'll no longer be at the mercy of other people's actions or the circumstances you find yourself in. Instead, you'll stand strong, knowing that no matter what happens, you have the power to control how you respond. The concept of focusing on what you can control is fundamental to living a peaceful and purposeful life. We often spend so much of our energy worrying about things that are beyond our reach, whether it's other people's opinions, the outcome of future events, or external circumstances. But this focus on the uncontrollable only brings unnecessary stress and frustration. The truth is, the only things that truly lie within our control are our actions, thoughts, and responses. It's natural to feel overwhelmed by things outside your control. We all face situations where we feel powerless, when people treat us unfairly, when the world seems to be spinning out of control, or when things just don't go as planned. However, these situations don't have to define us. The key to peace and mental clarity is to redirect your attention to what is actually within your power, your own thoughts and behaviors. Think about the things that cause you the most stress. Chances are, many of them are outside your control. Perhaps you're worried about how others perceive you, or anxious about events that haven't happened yet. These are all external factors that don't serve your inner peace. By constantly focusing on things you can't change, you drain your mental and emotional energy. This is a waste. The real power lies in shifting your focus to what you can control: your choices. Every day, you are faced with decisions that shape your life. You can't control how others behave, but you can control how you respond. You can't change the past, but you can control how you learn from it. You can't guarantee that everything will go according to plan, but you can control the effort you put into achieving your goals. When you direct your energy toward the things you can control, you create an inner sense of stability and resilience. For example, consider your work or studies. You may have little control over the outcome of certain situations, such as how a project is received or the success of a business venture. However, you do have control over your preparation, your effort, and your attitude toward your work. Instead of obsessing over the unknowns, focus on doing your best. Take pride in your actions, knowing that your effort is within your control. The results will follow, but they are not where your focus should be. By putting your attention on what you can control, you free yourself from the anxiety of what might happen, and instead focus on what you can contribute. Likewise, relationships often cause stress because we can't control other people, but we can control how we show up in those relationships. We can choose to be kind, understanding, and patient, regardless of how others behave. This doesn't mean we should tolerate mistreatment or let others walk all over us, but it does mean we can maintain our own integrity and respond to others in ways that align with our values. When we focus on our own actions, rather than trying to change or manipulate others, we create healthier, more fulfilling connections. One of the most common sources of stress is worrying about the future. It's easy to become consumed by what could go wrong, or by all the possibilities that lie ahead. But the truth is, the future is uncertain, and most of what we worry about never comes to pass. The present moment, however, is within our grasp. Focusing on the now allows us to direct our energy where it counts. When we stop worrying about what we can't control, and start focusing on what we can do today, we become more effective and less anxious. The power of focusing on what you can control also extends to your mental and emotional health. You can't always control your thoughts, but you can control how you respond to them. Negative or intrusive thoughts may come up, but you can choose not to dwell on them. You can practice mindfulness, redirect your focus, and cultivate positive thinking patterns. By recognizing that your thoughts are not commands, but rather signals that you can choose to engage with or dismiss, you gain more control over your emotional state. Ultimately, the more you practice focusing on what you can control, the more peace you will experience. You will stop feeling at the mercy of external circumstances and instead develop a sense of internal calm and confidence. The key is to let go of the things that lie outside your influence and invest your energy in the areas where you can make a difference. This shift in focus leads to a more peaceful, purposeful, and empowered life. Letting go of things beyond your control is one of the most liberating actions you can take in life. We often find ourselves tangled up in worry, frustration, or anger because of things that we simply cannot change. We waste so much energy trying to manipulate outcomes, change others, or control situations that are entirely out of our hands. But in doing so, we end up giving away our power, leaving us feeling drained, helpless, and stressed. The truth is, letting go of what we cannot control doesn't mean we stop caring or stop striving for improvement. It simply means we accept that there are some things we cannot influence, and instead, we focus on what we can control: our thoughts, attitudes, and actions. Think about how much time and energy you spend worrying about things that you can't change. Perhaps you are frustrated by someone's behavior, upset by a past mistake, or anxious about the future. These feelings are natural, but when we allow them to consume us, they take away from our peace and clarity. The key to letting go is recognizing that these worries don't serve us. We can't change the past, we can't control the actions of others, and we can't predict what will happen tomorrow. When we try to hold on to these things, we are holding on to a burden that weighs us down. Letting go isn't about resigning yourself to helplessness. It's about freeing yourself from the chains of unnecessary stress and worry. Imagine for a moment if you didn't need to control everything. If you didn't need to fix other people's mistakes or get the exact outcome you expect every time. If you could simply allow things to unfold as they will, without resistance. You would have so much more energy to focus on what really matters: your own growth, your relationships, your inner peace. One area where letting go becomes especially important is in our relationships. We cannot control how others act, how they feel, or what choices they make. It's easy to get caught up in trying to change someone or fix a relationship, especially when we care deeply. But trying to control others will only lead to frustration and conflict. The truth is, people will act as they will, and sometimes that will be out of our alignment. By letting go of the need to change others, we create space for healthier, more authentic connections. We can still express our needs, set boundaries, and support those we care about, but we can also accept that we can't change their behavior. This acceptance frees us from the emotional burden of feeling responsible for someone else's choices. Another area where letting go is essential is in dealing with uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and we can never be sure what will happen in the future. But instead of allowing that uncertainty to overwhelm us, we can learn to embrace it. We don't know what will happen tomorrow, but we can control how we prepare today. Letting go of the need to know everything, to plan every detail, or to have everything figured out removes the pressure we often place on ourselves. Instead of spending our time worrying about the what-ifs, we can focus on living in the present moment, making decisions that align with our values, and taking actions that lead us toward our goals, without being fixated on the outcome. Letting go also means releasing the need to hold on to past hurts. We all experience pain, loss, and disappointment in life, but when we hold on to these experiences, they prevent us from moving forward. We may replay painful memories in our minds, harbor grudges, or dwell on past mistakes. But this only traps us in the past, keeping us stuck and preventing us from embracing the present. When we let go of the pain of the past, we create space for healing and growth. This doesn't mean we forget or condone what happened, but it means we choose not to carry the burden of those past experiences with us. The act of letting go is also tied to acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up or passively waiting for things to improve. It simply means acknowledging that some things are beyond our control and choosing to release the grip we have on them. This act of acceptance doesn't weaken us. It empowers us. It allows us to be present, to act with clarity, and to live with a sense of peace. Letting go creates a mental space where we can think clearly, make wise decisions, and focus on what truly matters. It brings freedom from the anxiety and frustration that arise from trying to control the uncontrollable. Ultimately, letting go is about reclaiming your power. It's about understanding that while you can't control everything, you can control how you respond. You can control how you show up in the world, how you treat others, and how you manage your own thoughts and emotions. By letting go of what you can't change, you free yourself to live a life of purpose, peace, and authenticity. Embracing life's challenges as opportunities for growth is one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your mindset. Life is filled with ups and downs, with moments of joy and periods of hardship. But it is how we perceive these challenges that ultimately shapes our experience and our growth. When faced with difficult situations, it's easy to feel discouraged or defeated, especially when things don't go as planned. However, if we start to see these moments not as setbacks, but as stepping stones on our journey, we begin to transform how we deal with adversity. Challenges are inevitable. Whether it's a personal struggle, a professional setback, a relationship issue, or a health problem, we all face difficulties at some point. The question is not whether we will encounter challenges, but how we will respond to them. Most people, when faced with hardship, instinctively react with frustration, anger, or sadness. It's natural to feel these emotions when life doesn't go our way, but if we stop there, we miss out on the opportunity to learn and grow from the experience. The key to turning challenges into opportunities is shifting our perspective. Instead of viewing them as obstacles, we can choose to see them as teachers. Each challenge we face has something to offer us, whether it's a lesson in resilience, patience, or problem solving. When we view difficulties through this lens, we begin to approach them with a sense of curiosity, rather than resistance. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this?" This simple shift in mindset can make a huge difference in how we navigate difficult times. For example, imagine you've encountered a setback at work. Perhaps a project you've been working on for months has fallen through, or a promotion you were hoping for didn't materialize. At first, it might be tempting to feel disappointed or angry. You might wonder what went wrong, or why things didn't go as planned. But instead of focusing on the failure itself, consider what you can learn from the situation. Maybe you realize that there were things you could have done differently in the planning stages, or perhaps you recognize a gap in your skills that needs attention. These realizations can help you grow, improve, and prepare better for future projects. Rather than dwelling on the failure, you've turned it into a lesson that helps you grow stronger and more capable. This idea of viewing challenges as opportunities also applies to personal growth. Personal struggles, whether it's dealing with difficult emotions, overcoming a fear, or confronting a past trauma, can be some of the most painful experiences we go through. However, when we face these struggles head on and choose to learn from them, they can become the very source of our greatest strength. Each time we confront a challenge, we build resilience and increase our capacity for handling future obstacles. Over time, we become more adept at navigating life's difficulties, learning not only how to survive, but also how to thrive through them. Another important aspect of embracing challenges as opportunities is the role of patience. Growth doesn't happen overnight. Just as a seed takes time to grow into a tree, personal and professional growth requires patience and perseverance. There will be times when it feels like nothing is changing, or when progress seems slow. During these moments, it's essential to remind yourself that growth is often a gradual process, and the challenges you're facing are part of that journey. The more you persist, the stronger and wiser you will become. It's also worth noting that not every challenge will be easy to handle, and there will be moments of frustration or doubt. That's completely normal. However, when you approach these moments with a mindset of growth, you'll find that even the most difficult challenges carry value. They can help you build the character traits that will serve you in the future: patience, resilience, empathy, and determination. The key is to see the difficulty not as something to avoid, but as something that, in the long run, will help shape you into a stronger, more capable person. Lastly, embracing challenges as opportunities doesn't mean that you won't experience setbacks or hardships. Life will still throw curveballs, and not every challenge will result in immediate success. But what this mindset does is empower you to take ownership of your growth. When you accept that challenges are a natural part of life and that they are designed to help you grow, you will stop fearing them. Instead, you will face them with confidence, knowing that no matter the outcome, you will come out of the experience stronger and wiser than before. In the end, it's not the challenges themselves that define us, but how we respond to them. When we choose to see life's difficulties as opportunities for growth, we shift from a mindset of victimhood to one of empowerment. Challenges no longer feel like obstacles in our path. They become the very tools that shape our character and build our strength and help us achieve our greatest potential. Responding with calm rather than reacting with anger or frustration is one of the most effective ways to maintain control over your emotions and protect your peace of mind. In life, we are often faced with situations that trigger strong emotional responses. People may insult us, disappoint us, or treat us unfairly. Events may occur that shake our sense of security or cause us anxiety. In such moments, it's natural to feel anger, frustration, or distress. However, the way we respond to these emotions is what determines the outcome of the situation. Choosing calm over reaction is not about suppressing your feelings or ignoring the reality of the situation. It's about learning to manage your emotions in a way that keeps you centered, rational, and in control. When something unexpected or upsetting happens, our initial impulse is often to react. For instance, someone might say something hurtful, and your immediate response might be to defend yourself or argue back. But reacting impulsively rarely leads to a positive outcome. More often than not, it escalates the situation, leading to further conflict, resentment, or regret. When we react without thinking, we allow the situation to control us, rather than maintaining control over ourselves. This is where calmness becomes a powerful tool. Choosing calm in the face of adversity doesn't mean you don't feel emotions. It means that, even when you feel anger or frustration bubbling up inside, you take a moment to pause and decide how to respond. This pause is critical. In that brief moment, you have the opportunity to reflect on the situation and make a choice. Will you let your anger dictate your actions, or will you choose to respond thoughtfully and with composure? By creating this space between the stimulus and your response, you empower yourself to act with intention, rather than reacting impulsively. One of the main reasons why reacting with calmness is so effective is that it allows us to think more clearly. When we are emotional, our thoughts can become clouded, and we may act in a way that we later regret. By taking a step back and calming ourselves, we create mental space to evaluate the situation objectively. We can ask ourselves questions like, what is truly at stake here? Is this situation worth getting upset over? What is the best way to handle this in a way that aligns with my values and goals? When we respond with calm, we are more likely to make decisions that are rational, respectful, and conducive to positive outcomes. Responding with calmness also has a profound impact on the people around us. When others see us remain composed in the face of stress or conflict, it sets a powerful example. Calmness is contagious. If we respond with patience and thoughtfulness, it can help de-escalate tense situations and create a more peaceful atmosphere. People are less likely to become defensive or hostile when they see that we are not reacting with anger or aggression. In fact, responding with calmness can sometimes disarm even the most heated arguments, making it easier to find common ground or resolve differences. Choosing calmness also protects our emotional well-being. When we react impulsively, we often cause ourselves more harm than good. Our stress levels rise, our blood pressure increases, and we feel emotionally drained. These negative reactions can lead to feelings of guilt, regret, or shame, especially if we say something hurtful in the heat of the moment. By taking a moment to breathe and center ourselves before responding, we can avoid these emotional pitfalls. We can remain grounded and true to ourselves, instead of letting the situation drag us into negative emotions that undermine our peace of mind. Practicing calmness doesn't mean you avoid confrontation or shy away from difficult conversations. It simply means you approach these situations with a clear mind and a steady heart. You can express your thoughts, feelings, and boundaries firmly and respectfully, without letting your emotions dictate your words or actions. This approach not only helps you navigate difficult situations more effectively, but also fosters healthier, more constructive relationships. One way to cultivate calmness is through mindfulness practices, such as deep breathing, meditation, or grounding exercises. These practices help train the mind to stay present and aware, even in stressful situations. When we practice mindfulness, we become more attuned to our thoughts and emotions, and we can recognize when we are starting to get triggered. In these moments, we can use techniques like deep breathing to calm our nervous system and regain control over our emotions. With practice, responding with calmness becomes more natural, and we are better equipped to handle whatever challenges come our way. Another key to responding with calmness is developing emotional resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity, and it is built through experience. The more we practice staying calm in difficult situations, the stronger our emotional resilience becomes. Each time we choose to respond with composure, we reinforce our ability to handle stress and conflict with grace. In the end, Responding with calmness is a skill that can be cultivated over time. It requires patience, self-awareness, and practice. But the rewards are immense. By learning to stay calm, we protect our peace, make better decisions, and create more positive interactions with others. Most importantly, we take control of our emotional lives, instead of letting our emotions control us. Building inner strength through patience and self-discipline is the most valuable practices you can adopt in your life. Life is often unpredictable, and many of the challenges we face require resilience and a steady mindset. Inner strength doesn't come from avoiding difficulties, but rather from learning how to handle them with grace, determination, and calm. It is developed through a consistent effort to master our emotions, thoughts, and actions. No matter what circumstances we find ourselves in, patience is a key component of inner strength. In a world that often values instant results, it can be easy to get frustrated when things don't happen as quickly as we'd like. We live in a time where we are conditioned to expect things to move fast. We want instant success, immediate recognition, and quick rewards. But the reality is that real growth, whether personal, professional, or spiritual, takes time. Patience teaches us that things will unfold as they are meant to, but only if we stay the course. It helps us resist the urge to rush through life, teaching us to appreciate the process rather than just the outcome. One of the most powerful ways to cultivate patience is to learn to accept the natural rhythm of life. We often resist delays or setbacks, thinking they are interruptions in our plans. However, life doesn't operate on our timeline, and no amount of frustration will change that. Instead of fighting against what is, we can practice surrender. This doesn't mean giving up on our goals or resigning ourselves to failure. It simply means understanding that we don't have control over everything, and sometimes we need to wait for the right moment. By accepting this, we cultivate the patience necessary to endure through tough times without losing our peace or motivation. Self-discipline is the other crucial element of inner strength. While patience helps us endure through difficult situations, self-discipline empowers us to keep moving forward, even when it would be easier to give up. Self-discipline is the ability to stay focused on what matters most, even when distractions or temptations try to pull us off course. It's about maintaining consistency, setting goals, and following through on those goals, even when we don't feel like it. Self-discipline requires a strong sense of commitment to ourselves and our values. Building self-discipline starts with small, manageable actions. It's about making conscious decisions every day to act in alignment with our long-term goals. For example, if you want to improve your health, it's not enough to have a desire for change. You must develop the discipline to eat well, exercise regularly, and get enough sleep, even on days when you don't feel like it. Similarly, if you want to advance in your career, you must be disciplined in your work habits, managing your time effectively, and staying committed to your responsibilities, even when the going gets tough. Self-discipline is the ability to stay true to your intentions, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Another aspect of self-discipline is learning to say no. Life is full of distractions, people, events, and even our own habits can pull us in many directions. But to build inner strength, we must learn to protect our time and energy. This means saying no to things that don't align with our values or our goals. It's easy to overcommit ourselves, but doing so weakens our ability to stay disciplined. When we choose to say no to unnecessary distractions, we preserve our energy for what truly matters, making it easier to stay focused on our priorities. While patience and self-discipline may seem like opposing qualities, one involves waiting, and the other involves taking action, they actually complement each other. Patience teaches us to trust the process and not to rush, while self-discipline keeps us focused and moving forward, even when we don't see immediate results. Together, they help us develop the mental and emotional resilience to weather life's challenges. When we build inner strength through patience and self-discipline, we also become more self-aware. We begin to recognize our weaknesses and habits that hold us back. We learn to observe our thoughts and emotions without being controlled by them. This self-awareness allows us to make better decisions and to act with greater intention. Over time, we develop a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us, which in turn strengthens our capacity to handle life's challenges. Developing inner strength doesn't mean that we will never face difficulties or setbacks. On the contrary, the more we build our inner strength, the more we become prepared to face challenges with confidence. We know that we have the patience to endure, the discipline to keep going, and the resilience to recover from setbacks. This inner strength gives us the foundation to take on whatever life throws our way, knowing that we have the tools to navigate through it.